Okay, so let's start scattering some stuff on our on our rocks. So let's do some of the coral. So make sure that, because right now we've saved out this new scene. What you kind of want to do is you want to make sure that you save out your coral to be in the correct location. So we have these wedges. And you need to save out the wedges to the new project location. Because like if you haven't saved these out to the project location that we're using right now, so with the you should have already done that when we did the shading, but make sure that they're inside the project location. So that would be, let's have a look. So they would be inside of here. Let's see, geo coral. So they would be in submerged tutorial, SS geo coral, and then you can see my 32 coral pieces are there. So I generated 32. So else we cannot start scattering them. Well, we can, but we kind of want to keep everything sort of in the correct location. Okay, so what we are going to be using is an instance node. So let me show you what an instance node does. So if I make if I make an instance here, and if I now, let's hide some stuff. If I now make a box, or let's make a pig. If I go into this instance object, if I drag my instance object in there, let's hide this pig. This pig will be instanced inside this instance object. And right now it only has one point here. Let's say if I make a box, and now let's do points from volume. Let's do a couple of points like that. And then put it to point instancing. You see right now it will instance this pig onto our points that we have here. So of course this is still not that interesting, but we can also do some other stuff with it. So let's just test it out first. Let's make a grid. Let's scatter some points on this. Let's make a couple of points. So what this thing also can do is, instead of an instance object, it can also use a path to an object. So we can point this either to a file on disk or to an object location. So let's do this in a wrangle first. Let's first point this manually to our pig head here. So let's do this in a wrangle and type s add instance equals, and then we need to point this to our location of our pig. So I guess we could paste relative references. No, I don't. Okay, let's just point it manually. So as a string, it's going to be an object slash, and now what's the name? The name is going to be test geometry pighead. Let's close it. Okay, let's see if this works already. Not yet. Okay, it probably needs to be slash object. Right. So what it's doing now is it's looking at slash obj slash test geometry pighead, which is the pig there. We could also randomize this. So we could say, let's make just call this object 1. And let's copy and paste this. Call the other one object 2 and put a box inside of there. Okay, so then in this instance, let's say that we don't want it to be like that. Let's say that let's call a random function, float r equals random based on the point number. And then let's say that if r is below 0.5, then s at instance equals like that. Okay, it was called object1. And if it's above, then it's going to be object2. So let's have a look. So you can see now it will, if the random that's coming out of this will be below 0.5, then it will instance object1. If it's above, it will be object2. Now, of course, this is a whole bunch of manual labor to put it in like this. So probably don't want to do it like that. Maybe we want some more control. So let's use some more vex to sort of make this a little bit easier. Okay, so let's remove this thing. Okay, so let's say that r equals, and let's say fit 0, 1. So we want to fit this because this random generates a value between 0 and 1. So then we can say r is fit 0, 1. Okay, so let's fit the r between, how many instances do we want? We want between 0, or like let's say between 0 and 3, right? And now let's say that, okay, so let's write this out. Just say that f at r equals r, and let's have a look in our spreadsheet. So r, and you can see between 0 and 3. Probably know what we want. We want to use integers because these objects are called object1, object2, and maybe we can make an object3 later. Okay. So what we can do is we can type rint. Rint will round to integer. So you can see, now we can get that. So now we get 1.0, 1. Whatever. So we want to probably type that I at r equals r, right? So now it will convert it. So now we have an integer called r. So we could use this to add maybe that to our path. Right, so we don't really need to write it out, just so you know that like right now we have a value going from 0 to 3. So let's make a couple of objects. Let's call this object 0, object 1, object 2, and let's make that a sphere. Let's make another one. It's going to be object 3. And let's make it a rubber toy. We haven't used that one yet. That's this one. Okay. So let's type an instance path. So let's say I said instance equals, and let's again type this path that we had before. So obj slash, and then let's put it to one object. So to a single object first. So now it's instancing this object. Okay, but we don't want to manually type this here. What we want to do is we want to randomly insert something based on the point number. Okay, so what we can do is we can use this function called sprintf. So let's press F1 on it. And why is it not opening? Okay, there it is. So it doesn't really explain it that well. Okay, I will be explaining it then. Okay, so what we can do is we can type a string here, and then we can replace part of the string with an attribute. Okay, so let's between these things, let's type /obj, and then /obj, and then percentage sign s. And this percentage sign s will be replaced with something we can put afterwards. Okay, so let's put a column and then type r. So this will be replaced with this attribute. If you have more, then the first one will be replaced by this one, the second one will be replaced by the other one. Okay, so let's close it. Do it like that. All right, let's have a look. All right, so now you can see that it's now randomly placing from these objects, and we could add more. Like we could make an object 4. Why is it not doing? So let's call this object 4. Okay, for some reason it's refuses to call something object for. All right, that's weird. Anyway, but you can have more objects like this, and you can just type how many objects do I want in there. So I could say that I could say that float I equals channel integer, and then how many objects do I want? So I want amount of objects, something like that. And then instead of manually typing it here, I could say, okay, I. So now I could say that, okay, now if I put it to 1, it will only use object 0 and 1. Now it will use up until 3. So you can see, this is how we can do. So instead of just doing it like this, we can also let this grab a object from disk. So instead of just pointing it to an object like we're doing here, we can also have it pick something from disk. So let's do that. So let's navigate to where our corals are. So this will be our folder with our coral. Let's copy the path. Let's replace this with front text. So let's put it in here. Go to place. Right, so now we have all front text. So this will be the path. Okay, so let's go in here. So instead of instance, we can use instance file. And then we're going to say that, okay, we're going to have it go to this path. And then let's see what's our coral called. Our coral is called coral 0, 1, whatever. Okay, so let's say /coral. So by the way, open this with Alt-E, then we can open like a text editor so we have some more room. So coral percentage S. Okay. So let's see if this works. So not yet. So why is that? So let's have a look. So if we go into our thing here, see it will be put to coral 1, but it doesn't have an extension yet. So kind of want to put an extension after that. So let's say that we say, okay, string ext equals .bgo.sc. Let's put another $s here. Let's say comma ext. And why is this? Oh, we need to put this, of course, between, because it's a string, of course. So let's put it like that. Okay, so now this will evaluate to, let's see. So coral1.bgo.sc. So as you can see, I'm using this percentage S 2 times now, and I'm just first pointing it to R and then to the extension. So again, R is which one are we going to instance, and then the ext is this one. So just these are our holding variables. All right, let's move up, and now you can see, yeah, there we go. We have our coral. So it's way too big. Let's make it smaller. So let's do a attribute randomize, p-scale, maybe between 0.1. Let's scale down the value. Okay, so that's not exactly what we want. Okay, so some of these are way too small, so I'm just gonna have a look at what's up with my instances, because I feel like just some of my instances are being scaled down quite a lot. So one second. So if I go to file, just load in one of my coral pieces here. Yeah, okay, so for these pieces, maybe what I want to do is I'm going to save them out first, I think. They're actually quite okay sized. Some are just a little bit smaller. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is looking fine. I'm not sure what happened there. It just didn't pick up on the other p scale. Okay, so now you can see it's only using a couple over here. So it's only using 3 instances, but I could crank this up. I could say 32 or maybe 31 because it starts 0, right? And it's not updating. All right, so I needed to hide it and then update it again. So now it's picking random coral. So yeah, if you can see now in this in the instance file will be random between 0 and, well, however amount we put over there. So we'll have a ton of different instances. So we can use this to scatter our coral on our object. So what we did now is we actually put it to a full path here, which is probably not what we want to do. Maybe what we want to do instead is we probably want to put this to our project location. So let's open this like this. Instead of doing this whole thing, let's put it to $root/assets geo coral1 like that. Okay, so let's have a look. Apply. I think this should still work. Yeah, so you can see this $root still evaluates. So it evaluates now to the same thing. So let's save. Go to scene view. Right, so now what it's doing is still using these the $root thing that we used. So now even if now we can change our global project position. So just a little bit more cleaner way of working. Okay, so now we have this. Let's scatter them on our actual rocks instead of what we did here.